My very first buyers 17 years ago are still in their house. And when they need something, they still call me. And that's what we want. And hopefully if they decide to sell, they will call me. Hi, I'm Nancy Taute with Dochen REALTORS. I have been selling real estate for over 17 years. And while I know the inner city very well, I tend to also travel all over Central Texas and have been known to travel anywhere from 100 to 300 miles in a day helping clients look for property. My knowledge of experience and living in the city this long is knowing which neighborhoods have which attributes to that neighborhood and what we need to look out for. You know, one of my clients said, "You anticipate my needs." The way we have it on the system is we set them up on a search. And if she were to mark something that she would like, I would always send her the information in advance so that she could really determine if she wanted to see that house. And so in the end, I said to them, you know, we're looking at all these older houses and you're really trying to find a house for your father. And you guys really don't need to worry about maintenance and what have you. Why don't we look at new construction? And we ended up in the end finding new construction for them. And so she appreciated that I could think outside of the box and anticipate her needs when she didn't even know what her needs were. So when somebody new's coming to town, I like to do something pretty old-fashioned. I like to take a city map and mark where they're gonna be working and then mark the different neighborhoods that we're gonna be evaluating so that when they leave with that map, and there's highlights by color of the properties that we might have gone to visit, then they can take that with them. And when they're, wherever they're coming from, evaluating properties online, then they'll kind of remember, oh yeah, that was the neighborhood where had a lot of trees, had some parks, I really liked it, or that's the neighborhood that's just south of the river, and it's walking distance to Zilker Park. Or that neighborhood is north central Austin, and there's a lot of walkability that's just starting up over there. So that's kind of what we're trying to figure out when somebody's first trying to decide whether or not Austin is gonna fit their needs. We're always taking education classes every year, and one of my very first classes was called a red flag class. So when I go into a property, I'm walking around that property and I'm looking for cracks in the ceiling. I'm trying to determine what age that property is. You know, they used aluminum wiring in the 70s. You know, what's the roof material made out of? A lot of these high-end properties have clay tile roofs. Is it a composition shingle roof? Is it a metal roof? How long are these roofs gonna last? You know, so I'm always walking around a property. If we're on the east side of I-35, I'm looking at cracks all the way around the property. So my goal is to look at that property, and sometimes a client will look at me and I'll do something with my eyes and she'll go, okay, I know this is not the property for me. So I tend to roll my eyes, and so sometimes I shouldn't, because really, I mean, I can be that advocate for them to make sure it's the right property, but ultimately, you know, it's their decision. Sometimes we need to call on each other a little bit more to help with opinions and help sustain the feedback on what we're getting. If we're giving feedback, As an example, these clients that are looking at the lake, I asked Carol, okay, between these two neighborhoods, which would you go to? And she goes, oh, the lake in a minute. She goes, but I have lake envy. So, I always think that I'd rather be at the lake. And so, it's just kind of asking other agents about, what do you know about this neighborhood? Maybe there's some new East Austin, Southeast Austin neighborhoods that somebody else from the office will know more about. And then guiding some of the other younger agents, answering their questions. Well, the recent client who's buying a property for her father to live in, she told me, I've dealt with realtors over the years, and you by far are the best realtor I've ever dealt with.